Have you ever wondered what makes a believer truly wise? Is it intelligence, experience, or something deeper? In Islam, wisdom is not just about knowledge. It's about how we think, act, and respond to life's challenges. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "The wise person is the one who controls his desires and works for the hereafter." True wisdom brings clarity, patience, and success in both this life and the next. But here's the real question. Are you among the wise believers? Do your actions reflect the qualities of a person who seeks guidance, controls their speech, trusts in Allah while taking action, and thinks before they act? In this video, we'll explore the key signs of a wise believer from an Islamic perspective. If you truly desire to grow in wisdom and strengthen your faith, stay with us till the end. You might discover something life-changing. 1. They seek knowledge with humility. A wise believer understands that knowledge is a lifelong journey, not just a destination. In Islam, seeking knowledge is a duty upon every Muslim. As the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Seeking knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim." Ibn Majah. However, true wisdom is not just about gathering information. It is about applying it with sincerity and humility. A wise believer does not seek knowledge for status, arguments, or to appear superior to others. Instead, they pursue it with the intention of getting closer to Allah and implementing it in their daily life. The Quran repeatedly emphasizes the value of those who are both knowledgeable and humble. Allah says, "Say, are those who know equal to those who do not know? Only those who understand will take heed." Surah Az-Zumar 39:9. This verse highlights that knowledge, when combined with understanding, leads to true wisdom. Humility in seeking knowledge means acknowledging that no matter how much one learns, there is always more to understand. The most knowledgeable scholars in Islamic history, like Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Ash-Shafi'i, were known for their humility. They never claimed to know everything and were always willing to learn from others. This is a sign of true wisdom. Arrogance, on the other hand, leads to ignorance, as it prevents a person from accepting the truth even when it is clear. A wise believer also applies their knowledge with sincerity. Learning about Islam is not just about memorizing facts or quoting hadith. It is about transforming one's character and actions. For example, knowing the importance of patience means practicing it in difficult situations. Understanding the virtues of honesty means being truthful even when it is hard. Without action, knowledge remains incomplete. Moreover, they share knowledge with others in a respectful and kind manner. They do not force their opinions, but inspire through their conduct. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the best example of this. He taught people with gentleness, wisdom, and patience. In today's world, distractions are everywhere, but a wise believer prioritizes learning about their faith. Whether through reading, listening to scholars, or reflecting on the Quran, they constantly seek improvement. They understand that true knowledge leads to humility, deeper faith, and a closer connection to Allah. 2. They control their tongue. A wise believer understands the immense power of words. The tongue may be small, but it can build relationships, spread goodness, and bring people closer to Allah. Or it can cause harm, break hearts, and lead to regret. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak good or remain silent." Bukhari, Muslim. This hadith highlights that speech is not just a casual act, but a reflection of faith and wisdom. One of the key qualities of a wise believer is the ability to think before speaking. They do not react impulsively or say things they might regret. Instead, they pause, reflect, and choose their words carefully. They know that every word is recorded by the angels. As Allah says in the Quran, "Not a word does he utter, but there is a vigilant observer, ready to write it down." Surah Qaf 50:18. This awareness makes them mindful of what they say. A wise believer avoids gossip, backbiting, and slander. Speaking ill of others damages relationships and weakens the soul. The Quran warns, "And do not backbite one another. Would any of you like to eat the flesh of his dead brother? You would detest it." Surah Al-Hujurat 49:12. Instead of engaging in negative talk, they focus on words that bring benefit, whether it is encouraging someone, sharing beneficial knowledge, or simply choosing silence when needed. They also practice patience and restraint, especially in moments of anger. Harsh words spoken in anger can leave deep wounds. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, advised, "When one of you is angry, let him remain silent." Ahmad. A wise believer understands that controlling their tongue in moments of anger prevents unnecessary conflict and regret. Moreover, they use their words to spread goodness. They encourage, comfort, and uplift others with kind speech. Even a simple greeting or a sincere compliment can brighten someone's day. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, "A good word is charity." Bukhari, Muslim. They also engage in dhikr, remembrance of Allah, knowing that the purest use of the tongue is in praising Allah, making dua, and seeking forgiveness. Ultimately, a wise believer guards their speech, knowing that words have consequences in both this life and the hereafter. They choose to speak in ways that bring them closer to Allah and protect their hearts from unnecessary harm. 3. They trust in Allah but take action. A wise believer understands that true reliance on Allah, tawakkul, is not about waiting passively for things to happen, but about taking action while trusting in His divine plan. Tawakkul is a balance between effort and faith, doing one's best while believing that the outcome is in Allah's hands. The Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, beautifully explained this concept when he said, "Tie your camel and then put your trust in Allah." Tirmidhi. This hadith teaches that trust in Allah does not mean neglecting responsibilities, but rather combining effort with reliance. A wise believer does not sit idly, expecting success without hard work. Whether it is seeking knowledge, earning a livelihood, or improving character, they take practical steps while praying for Allah's guidance. They recognize that every effort, no matter how small, brings them closer to their goals. This mindset keeps them proactive and motivated, preventing laziness and despair. At the same time, they do not let failures or difficulties shake their faith. They understand that sometimes, despite their best efforts, things may not go as planned. Instead of becoming frustrated, they trust that Allah's plan is always better, even if they cannot see it immediately. As Allah says in the Quran, "Perhaps you dislike something, but it is good for you, and perhaps you love something, but it is bad for you. Allah knows while you do not know." Surah Al-Baqarah 2216. This verse reminds them that hardships can be hidden blessings, and that patience is key. Another sign of a wise believer is that they do not rely solely on their own abilities. While they work hard, they also turn to Allah in prayer, seeking His help in all matters. They make dua before making decisions and trust that whatever the outcome, it is what Allah has decreed for them. This reliance brings them peace and prevents unnecessary stress and anxiety. A wise believer also avoids overthinking and worrying about the future excessively. They focus on taking the right steps today while leaving the results to Allah. This approach allows them to live with contentment and hope, knowing that they have done their part and that Allah will take care of the rest. In essence, true wisdom lies in combining action with trust, doing one's best while having full faith that Allah's plan is always perfect. They reflect before acting. A wise believer does not rush into decisions or actions without careful thought. Instead, they pause, reflect, and ensure that their choices align with the teachings of Islam. This habit of thinking before acting prevents regret, protects their faith, and strengthens their connection with Allah. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Calmness and patience come from Allah, while haste comes from Shaitan." Tirmidhi. This hadith emphasizes the importance of reflection and patience in decision-making. One of the key aspects of wisdom is ensuring that every action is in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah. A wise believer constantly asks, "Will this action bring me closer to Allah or take me away from Him?" They do not let emotions, peer pressure, or temporary desires dictate their decisions. Instead, they seek guidance from Islamic teachings, trusted scholars, and sincere advisors. This careful approach leads to choices that benefit them in both this world and the hereafter. Reflecting before acting also helps in handling conflicts and difficult situations wisely. A wise believer does not react impulsively when faced with anger, criticism, or challenges. They control their emotions, analyze the situation, and choose a response that reflects patience and good character. The Quran advises, "And when they are angry, they forgive." Surah Ash-Shura 42:37. This shows that true strength lies in responding with wisdom, rather than reacting with haste. Another important aspect of reflection is considering the long-term consequences of one's actions. A wise believer does not focus only on immediate benefits, but thinks about how their decisions will affect their future, both in this life and the hereafter. Before speaking, they think about how their words will impact others. Before making financial or career decisions, they consider whether their choices align with Islamic values. This foresight helps them avoid regrets and stay on the right path. Additionally, a wise believer seeks guidance through prayer, istikhara, and consultation, shura. They understand that they do not have all the answers, so they turn to Allah for direction and seek advice from knowledgeable and righteous people. This humility in seeking guidance prevents them from making decisions based solely on personal opinions or emotions. In essence, wisdom is not about acting quickly, it is about acting correctly. By reflecting before making choices, a believer ensures that their actions are thoughtful, beneficial, and pleasing to Allah. Wisdom is a gift that brings peace, clarity, and closeness to Allah. A wise believer seeks knowledge with humility, speaks with care, trusts in Allah while taking action, and reflects before making decisions. These qualities shape a strong and successful Muslim. May Allah grant us wisdom that guides our hearts and actions. Say, "Ya Allah, bless me with wisdom and righteousness" in the comments. If you found this video beneficial, like, share, and subscribe to Pure Deen for more inspiring Islamic content. Jazakum Allahu khairan, and may Allah keep us all on the straight path.